streaming thing. Okay.
Old people like myself tend to say that everything was better back in the day. I'm more of the kids are all right crowd. Hell, I'm a kid myself to an extent. But one thing is undeniable.
Aren't we all?
It was different. The internet was different. I used to...
Wait, hold on one second. That's a big slab of meat. Okay.
I used to think it was far more raw and uncensored, filled with shit that has probably left millions of kids with untreatable, unintentional PTSD. We had websites like Live Leaks, where you could find everything from cartel, ISIS, white supremacists, and other kinds of troll videos, as long as you knew how to press the 18+ button. Social media, influencers in particular, were finding their footing. It was mostly innocent little content, talking about hobbies or interests, educational content, or just the usual flexing of wealth or physical fitness and beauty. There were two internets, and while one would sometimes leak into the other, with random gang shootings popping up after you scroll past your grandma's kitty pictures over Facebook, the truly messed up shit, war in particular, was on its own independent part of the web. Still very accessible, mind you, but limited to those who looked for it. Contrastingly, today, this sort of content has not only found its footing on mainstream platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, but it has birthed its own category of content creators, what we will call war crime influencers.
War crime influencers. What an industry.
The worst thing I could see on my timeline back in the day was a Logan Paul video. Now I casually see shit like this.
Yeah. That looks terrible, by the way.
Alright, gentlemen, I want you to repeat out. How I do it. Ready?
Holy shit, this video is fucked up already. Okay, I need to go back. Incredible video. Wow. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Did that pop up or not? Man, what the heck? Okay, there you go. Dude, I can't believe we're here. But yeah, I remember seeing the majority of these videos myself. It's very easy for them to be posted and to come across them. And a lot of them, they're not even gory or anything like that. It's really just the atrocity of what's happening in the video. That really sucks. That kind of that's kind of the shock factor. Like destroying homes with construction equipment. Pretty fucked up. Essentially kidnapping somebody and forcing them to sing whatever crappy weird songs those are. That was definitely a time that was going on in I think when around October. It was really weird. What?
You see, the leak in Live Leak kind of tells you that most of these videos were uploaded by a third party after they uncovered it somewhere in the depths of the web or in IRL. Cartel bosses wanted fear, sure, but not TikTok followers. ISIS wanted respect and panic, but not to pop off their online brand. Today, we have people who, using their own name and often face, proudly post their heinous acts of war, often criminal, as a means to normalize what they do.
I think Facebook really had a time where people were more reserved at first because they were using their real names. And then that kind of gradually... I've been on the internet for freaking 30 years now. Wow. At least. But yeah, I do remember the beginning and it being very anonymous. And then, you know, it got into the Facebook era where people were using their real names. And I was like, huh, this is kind of sus to do that. And then, you know, it kind of... You wanted to go back to that anonymous part because it was easier to be anonymous and post funny stuff or get away with things. But once we kind of mixed the two, I think there was an era of Facebook where it just became toxic, and the toxicity kind of spilled over to the ability of being anonymous, and you had a bunch of people that were no longer, they didn't come in the era of being anonymous, so maybe they didn't know any better, and you know, you ended up with this mixture of people using their real names and then doing really toxic shit. And now we're just kind of like in the end game where it's all one and the same. Whatever you post online, like if you are somebody that's never faced any consequences before, then odds are you're just going to be posting crazy stuff. And I think that's what happens these days, and I think that's what we're seeing here in this video.
A clout or fangirly adoration. Nowhere has this been more prevalent than in the IDF.
Can agree.
Global condemnation by almost all mainstream internationally accredited civil rights organizations of the so-called conflict in Gaza, which has cost the life of over 20,000 Palestinians, have been unilateral. Yet nobody acts. The call for ceasefire comes from billions of people from all over the globe, and yet nobody acts. 80% of all world governments have formally called for a ceasefire, and yet nobody acts. And now, even after all of that injustice, we are forced to watch the perpetrators gloat about their actions daily on our timelines as an online army of absolute freaks proceeds to post themselves taking immense pleasure in the suffering they're inflicting, all while no platform dares to touch or remove them.
Wow.
How did we get here?
War crime influencers, man.
That particular army from that particular apartheid state has been always known for its love of posting.
Oh no, my mouse died again. I hate that video so much. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why is that happening to me? And now the keyboard died too. I hate this KVM. The mouse died again? You're freaking kidding me. Having the worst time here. Dude.
And while it was almost slightly distasteful, as these videos would go up in between random acts of ethnic-based violence being committed on the streets, it was mostly just that. That's it. I mean, yeah, the IDF has always been very good at pitching their army to Westerners as one being of quote-unquote higher caliber than those of their neighbors. Look at us, we're so silly and chill. We have vegan food that we serve because we care about animals and ethics. We have all these beautiful people in uniform.
Yeah, that facade's gone, dude.
Edgy New York content creators, not a brutal occupying army. Speaking of someone who's not a brutal occupying army, just a guy who posts on the internet, are we really going to let these people have more subscribers than me? That can't be right. So go on, press the subscribe button right now and contribute to less war crime endorsing videos on this big little platform of ours. Anyways, I can't believe I'll say this.
I think that's a good idea. Definitely follow Yugopnik.
Little cringy dance videos, because what we have now is far more mask off than any journalist could dig up.
I'm sorry, you're doing what? Oh, it was like a joke, right? No, they're doing it on purpose. Got it.
Now, people have been recording themselves doing vile shit in conflict zones since we invented the camera. This is nothing new. But the total sheer level of shamelessness to put it on platforms accessible by billions is something I hadn't seen, well, ever. I can only guess where this audacity to post shit like this comes from.
מה, לא עונים? נעשה שוב. מוזר, נראה לי אין אף אחד בבית. איך אני יודע?
What I suspect motivates such open flaunting of pure spite and hate through physical acts, mind you, much worse than just verbal, is the internalized notion this whole army has, and even the state, that they're completely and utterly untouchable. And can you blame them? Look at what's been going on for 3 months now, and except
Jesus
for a few
Christ.
boys with choppers over in Yemen and a few corporate boycotts, there has been no, absolutely zero consequences to speak of. When you think you're untouchable, then you have no reason to believe in consequences. That, or you are so certain that you'll be the victor who writes the history, that you see this as not much more than just gathering good old trophies. It's gotten so bad that the military probably has concerted efforts to stop it, and the fact that it can't, while being quite
Yeah, how do you stop that?
military PR, tells you just how surface level the shit we're seeing really is, since that's the only stuff that actually gets through. I mean, we're talking about a country which has a whole department of internet scavengers that both post, manipulate, and push rhetorics online, as well as a country with defined organs to getting people thrown out of their jobs, sometimes rightfully for expressing anti-Semitic lunacy, but other times simply due to their support of Palestinian rights. But enough
Wow.
about the army. What about the internet's role in this whole thing? The reason I mentioned that I no longer believe that the internet used to be more raw and uncensored in the past is because we don't even notice when something is raw and uncensored nowadays. People aren't getting long-term scarring from violent footage anymore because it's absolutely everywhere. In the last 3 months alone, without even looking for it, I've seen countless death and destruction, and likely so have you. This, as messed up as it sounds, is the good side of this.
These guys are in the Caterpillar D9, going around and plowing things over
Story.
with their bulldozer.
Thanks to the internet, we're able to get insight far quicker into what's happening on the ground in some of the most hellish war zones on Earth. But while we have access to it, this very same constant exposure makes us less receptive of it. No shock value, no anger. That old saying, one dead man is a tragedy, 1,000 is a statistic, can very easily be applied to how we browse the web. You get shocked once or twice, so it can be applied to how we
Yeah, one death is a tragedy, 1,000 is a statistic. Correct.
browse the web.
Thanks,
you get
Stalin.
shocked once or twice over the same thing, and then it just turns into a sort of torture porn experience for you. While those very same people, in their flesh and blood, never stopped going through the horrors on the ground. The question I won't be answering because there's not enough data to actually answer it keeps lingering in my head. Are we more empathetic of the horrors of the system, this world, the monsters in it, because we can see them through our screens? Or are we more distant than ever? The millions of people on the streets calling for an end to this barbarity give me optimism. But it really is too early to tell. If it's that desensitized for us, what do you think it's like for the so-called soldiers on the ground committing these same acts, normalized to the point of...
Dude, okay, a lot of these I haven't seen. Wow.
Posting means it's the same to them like posting a new watch, a night into town, or a wedding photo. Social media is our compass to what is seen as standard, as normal, so to say. If you're posting it for the whole world to see, then you must not feel ashamed of it. Hell, you might even feel proud of it. And for you not to feel shame towards something, you must find it to be normal. Well, tell me, how can someone who posts this be normal?
I've seen that one.
It's almost as if the general need to post is unironically, and sorry, but this is genuinely funny. It's almost as if the general need to post is more important to some people than staying out of jail. It's not the internet's fault. It's not some blood or culture thing either. It's a state deepening into fascistic genocidal fervor, which leads to a change in what is defined as normal that turns its perceived enemy into a dehumanized punching bag. Just nowadays, it also posts about it. Over 30 years ago now, many people calling themselves patriots from every corner of the little peninsula that birthed and bred me, the Balkans, did unspeakable things in the name of this or that cause. Hatred, revenge, or straight-up sociopathy unlocked by the total moral free-for-all which is war. Many of these same men recorded home videos of their deeds, thinking they're untouchable, thinking they'll be victors. And while many remain free to this day, a lot of them are rotting in jail or in the ground, because their vanity reached such heights that they recorded their ungodly actions. Receipts, ladies, gentlemen, and tavarishi, eventually fall out of our pockets, and the IDF has a lot of receipts. As of the making of this video, in a case against Israel by South Africa in the International Court of Justice, these very same videos have played a large role in depicting this terrifying bloodlust exhibited by those very same war crime influencers. At the end of the day, who cares about our discomfort while watching any of this stuff? Who cares about consumerist social media culture fueling this or whatever? I say, if evil wants to unmask itself, let it, so the whole world can see. Thank you for watching. Now, be a good tavarish and smash that subscribe button if you liked what you saw. Or, even better, if you're able to, check out my Patreon, where for the price of less than a can of beer a month, you can help this channel run. Now, I'd like to take a moment to thank all my wonderful patrons, without whom none of this would be possible. Especially...
Hey, look at that. Yo! What? Who's funding this? No. It's brought to you by viewers like you. $1 a day. You too could help fund somebody like this.
Today's episode of What's Going On.
Hey, you need to chill out, actually. But yeah, these bulldozers, man. They oof. That I don't know if that bulldozer was an autopilot or not, but it's in no pilot now. So yeah, those are the that's an old video. I'm pretty sure I saw that one. You can't really see what's happening here. There's explosions going on, but you know, as to what happened, where it happened, who knows. But yeah, those Caterpillar D9s are definitely a terror. I think what we're going to find out here with the ceasefire that theoretically is on the horizon is that they've done a lot of work with those D9s in these last few months, and the work that they have done has been mostly demolition and destruction of buildings and homes in the strip, and the D9 plays a huge role in that. Not only did they destroy homes with the D9, they destroyed buildings with their, you know, it's construction equipment, but it's really used for a deconstructive purpose. They have roughly 100 of these D9s, I believe, and I don't know if they're anywhere else in here. You might have a, oh, that's the same. That's the D9 getting the fireworks on it. But yeah, they've been using these the entire time, and they actually have been using them for decades now. I'd say that it's become a staple in their escalation process as far as to how they've been dealing with what they consider terrorist and terrorist acts. The escalation generally would be to surround the home, and then if nobody comes out, they would go in with a D9 instead of actually physically themselves going into a home and retrieving a person or a militant that is holed up in a house. You know, you would say this is pretty devious. Like, why would somebody do that? The cops do it here in the United States too. The cops have, you know, the Rook. If you look up the Rook anywhere, literally just type in the Rook, and then like police department, and you'll find the exact same thing. It's not a Caterpillar full-size D9. This is probably like, you know, a quarter of the size, but basically it's the same thing. We have these here in the States. These cops love to use these things. They recently used this battering ram on the on a truck driver. We'll just say 18-wheeler. Yep. Yeah, they use this on an 18-wheeler. That's what we call them in the States. But this guy would not come out of his cab of his truck, and yeah, the I believe it was the sheriff's department of Harris County. It destroyed his cab pretty much, tore up the back door also. With the Rook arm, they pulled out everything. So this is a strategy that we see in very, I would say, fascist societies, where there seem to be no repercussions for these actions. It's pretty trash. But yeah. All right. Well, let's see what else is pretty apocalyptic. I think I had this post lined up. Oh yeah, this is the Apple Vision Pro.
I can click on team stats, and real time, they.
Hold on. So this is the Apple Vision Pro, right?
I also want to see what's happening in this game, so I think.
So it's like Google Glass, right? Like, you remember Google Glass, like where you could see what I mean, you could see everything because it was basically glasses, and it just had like a little thing in the corner of your eye. as far as like the AR experience was. So this is the same thing, but everything's being refed to you through cameras because I don't think you can see through these goggles, right?
You can click on team stats.
But is he watching the TV or is he watching? He's not watching the TV, right? Like I guess he would be watching like whatever is superimposed over the TV.
And real time, they update while you're watching the
No way, dude. It's not like they have graphics on the fucking screen while you're watching the game.
game.
Or imagine if you had a device. Imagine if they came out with a device where you could see that. You could like pull up your own stats and like you could just have that to the side. Or shit, just like I don't know, maybe they did this one time in a movie. 2 for the money TV TV setup. Yeah, that's his TV debut. But yeah, in 2 for the money, he was a gambling guy, but they had like 10 TVs in that one room.
Field goal percentage, 3-pointers, free throws. You want to look at player stats? Over here on the right side, you can look at the teams and
Okay, what are these cameras for? And also, is that a big Hip Hop Anonymous? Like, what's going on there?
individual players. Let's obviously go check out.
And
the
how many
Warriors.
catches do you need?
Steph Curry had a beast of a game, 46 points. Oh wow! All the games that are being played, whether they're live or archived for the day, are here. Let's go to a rivalry like Miami, New York, and I click on it. It says watch game. I could swap it in, or I could add to multi-view. So all of a sudden, one pops up, and I'm like, oh crap! Like I can watch on the big screen, or I can have it here. Let's go to another game. Philadelphia, Denver. Yes, please. Add to multi-view. So now I have 3.
Dog, you could just buy a cheap-ass TV if you really wanted to do this on Black Friday. Actually, Black Friday deals suck. You could probably just buy a cheap TV that'll die in a year and put that on your wall if you wanted to. If you really wanted to do this stuff and watch multiple games at one time. Or, check this out. Have you heard of a computer? There's this thing that they call a PC. And on the PC, you can open multiple windows. And it's like this. But, you know, well, this is virtual also, but it's like this, but virtual. Like, you can't pinch, but they give you this thing. It's called a mouse. And the mouse, like, controls the screen. It's pretty crazy. I think it's gonna take off soon. It's new technology. I don't know.
3 screens, 3 games.
3.
What else? LA Clippers, Boston.
3
yes,
screens.
Please. We literally have 5 live streams or archive streams of NBA basketball in my face. I'm freaking out already. I'm like, this is incredible. I can.
Bro, you're at Buffalo Wild Wings. That's all you're doing. You're at Buffalo Wild Wings right now.
Take a game over here, and if I want to, I can swap it in and play it on the big screen, and then my Warriors game and Lakers game maybe.
Or imagine this. You just go to Buffalo Wild Wings, and they already have all this shit set up, and it doesn't cost you $3,500. Have we considered that? Because I think that in the long run, depending on how many times you go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I think you would probably still save.
It's during halftime, goes over there.
They also have food
here. Then, what do you normally do when you're watching sports? Yeah, I'm messaging my friends in the group text. Siri, open messages. So that pops in over there. I could be browsing the web here. This is insane.
Yeah, it's gonna drive you insane, dude. Like that's I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, for $3,500, I'm gonna say no. Bro finally discovers VR. Is it better in Portuguese?
Também quero ver o que está acontecendo neste jogo.
I know it's just as bad. Never mind. Neither does the perfect phone. More. Oh man, unhinged. Yeah, that looks really cool, by the way. Imagine just like tripping out while you're watching this. That'd be pretty awesome. Like, oh man, my hands, they can even touch themselves. Yeah. All right, so let's go to whatever this news is. Dude, first of all, Lester, I need you to speak up. You are in the back. I cannot hear you that well. Please enunciate also.
Keeping his cancer battle secret as U.S. forces prepare to retaliate for that deadly drone.
Hold on one second.
Strike. Austin speaking out for the first time since his hospitalization, saying, quote, "I did not handle this right," adding that his prostate cancer diagnosis was a gut punch and that he should have told the president and the public. It comes as the U.S. prepares to strike back after a drone killed 3 soldiers in the Middle East. We asked Austin, why has the U.S. waited to escalate its response? Also tonight, the mother of a
there's a few answers for that one.
School shooter testifying at her own trial what she said about wishing he'd killed her instead and why she didn't think he needed help with mental health. The catastrophic hangar collapse at the Boise airport. 3 people killed, 5 critically injured. How did it happen? Awful. Back-to-back storms slamming the West Coast. Cars trapped by floods. Swift water rescues. We're tracking it. The 2 NYPD officers attacked in Times Square. Multiple suspects arrested.
I'm sorry, they were what?
Multiple suspects arrested. Why would the 2 NYPD officers attacked in Times Square? Multiple.
Did that just cut off? Like, that was weird, right? Two NYPD officers are in, and then it cuts off. It's kind of weird.
Suspects arrested. Why were they released without bail? And checking in with Elmo, how his.
Why were they released with the bail? What happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Innocent.
Lester wants to execute them. Like, what do you want to do, dude? You want to just like give him go and give him the CO2 chamber? Like, what do you want to do?
On social media got a very unexpected response.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening and welcome. Offering what he says was an explanation, not an excuse, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin broke his public silence today surrounding his cancer diagnosis and his failure to notify even the president he had been hospitalized, all in the name of personal privacy. In a Pentagon news conference, Secretary Austin offering a broad apology for his lack of transparency, keeping his recent prostate cancer diagnosis and treatment a secret from his team, the public, and the president.
No secrets.
Austin facing the press during a critical moment at the Pentagon.
No secrets.
The war machine he oversees is being ready to answer last Sunday's deadly attack on American soldiers in Jordan by Iranian-backed militants. Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has our report.
Tonight, with the U.S. on the cusp of retaliatory strikes, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin detailing the Pentagon's preparations.
This is a dangerous moment in the Middle East.
And speaking out for the first time about that controversy, how he hid his hospitalization and diagnosis from the president and the public.
I want to be crystal clear. We did not handle this right, and I did not handle this right.
Delivering a frank and
I think this guy's like 6'4", man.
Forthcoming apology.
I should have told the president about my cancer diagnosis. I should have also told my team and the American public.
Okay, first of all, I still think he got poisoned by the Mossad. That's my opinion. It was directly after his trip there. So, yeah.
And I take full responsibility. I apologize to my teammates and to the American people.
They hit him with the Havana syndrome gun. And look, he looked pretty good there. I'm pretty sure this is before the trip.
Austin faced bipartisan outrage after revelations he spent several days at Walter Reed unable to do his job, but kept it a secret from the commander-in-chief and others. Today saying he did not want to reveal his prostate cancer diagnosis.
The news shook me, and I know that it shakes so many others, especially in the black community.
It looks pretty thin here.
It was a gut punch. And frankly, my first instinct was to keep it private.
Even from the president.
Putting my personal issue.
He ain't gonna remember shit anyway.
All the things that he's got on his plate. I just didn't feel that was a thing that I should do at the time.
Anyone else within the military chain of command would have faced reprimand or even dismissal. Why shouldn't that same standard apply to you, sir?
Well, let me just say that, thanks for the question, that we didn't get this right. And as I said, I take full responsibility.
Austin's visible limp, a sign of the 70-year-old's ongoing recovery.
I'm here with a clear message to other men, especially older men. Get screened. Get your regular checkups. Prostate cancer has a glass jaw.
All of it coming as the U.S. is vowing what officials call a multi-target campaign that could...
Okay, I feel bad for him if he actually does have cancer and if he's suffering and everything. However, none of that shit matters. That's all personal. None of that matters to what's going on here in the Middle East.
Last weeks in retaliation for the drone attack by...
Other than they tried to kill him.
Iranian-backed militia that killed 3 U.S. service members, among more than 160 attacks since October.
Tower 22 is an illegal camp. We shouldn't be there.
On American targets.
Why has the U.S. waited until American service members were killed to escalate its response?
As you know, we've responded a number of times. I think at this point, we should... it's time to take away even more capability than we've taken in the past.
And delivering this warning to those Iranian-backed forces.
They have a lot of capability. I have a lot more.
So I did watch this live. This is after they said that he's done answering questions, and then he continued to answer more questions, probably for like the next 3 or 4 minutes. And this is where like the juicy part came from. The whole like 45 minutes or hour or whatever it was, that sucked. Like it was just pure garbage. It was just like nobody asked any good questions. It wasn't until it was afterwards. But yeah, he told them basically that he wants to lay into Kataib Hezbollah and show him what's up.
Peter, what's the latest on that Pentagon review into Secretary Austin's actions?
Lester, the Pentagon Inspector General's office is conducting that review. Meanwhile, Secretary Austin will join President Biden tomorrow at Dover Air Force Base when the bodies of those 3 U.S. service members return home. Lester?
All right, Peter, thank you. In Michigan, the mother of the teenager who killed 4...
It was not a compliment for him. Never. Not worth. Fucking keyboard. I hate you, keyboard.
Oh, I need to reply to this.
Yeah. I'll say it's not worth your time. Yeah, I don't think it's worth your time to do that.
charged. Oxford High School testified in her own defense today at her landmark involuntary manslaughter trial. Maggie Vespa now with late details.
I've asked myself if I would have done anything differently, and I wouldn't have.
If you could change what happened, would you?
Oh, absolutely. I wish he would have killed us instead.
Tonight, Jennifer Crumbley on the stand testifying in her own defense about her relationship with her son, Ethan.
I thought we were pretty close.
And pushing back on prosecutors' core argument that leading up to the 2021 shooting at Oxford High School, she ignored clear signs her son was struggling.
Do you ever believe that your son needed
maybe the parents should be arrested too?
No,
I don't know.
I mean, there's a couple of times where Ethan had expressed anxiety, not to a level where I felt he needed to go see a psychiatrist or a mental health professional.
She testified
so he was
school
not seeing a
administrators
psychiatrist at all.
downplayed concerns, including in a meeting with Ethan's guidance counselor the morning of the shooting.
He told us that he didn't feel that my son was a risk.
Sean Hopkins telling the jury Monday,
I felt it was better for him to be around peers and people who are his age than to be home alone.
Prosecutors say both of Ethan's parents bought him the gun used in the shooting, but today Crumbley saying her husband was responsible for it.
Who is responsible for storing the gun?
My husband is. It was more his thing.
Her testimony following an emotional
turning
moment.
on each
Several
other.
People in the courtroom crying as prosecutors played surveillance video of the deadly shooting.
Because the situation was active and the killing hadn't stopped. You can't stop and ready.
Defense attorneys finished questioning Jennifer Crumbley late today, leaving prosecutors to begin their cross-examination first thing tomorrow. Lester.
Maggie Vespa, thank you. Let's turn out of the collapse of an airplane hangar under construction at the airport in Boise, Idaho, leaving 3 people dead and 9 badly injured. Liz Kreutz is there.
Tonight, officials working to determine what caused this hangar under construction at the Boise airport to collapse, killing 3 people and injuring 9 others, 5 in critical condition.
All right, I'm gonna say it's a terrible story.
Witnessed the immediate
but
aftermath.
we can skip ahead a little bit.
Hoisted out. Telling NBC News.
I don't know why that's such a huge story. I get it that it's a hangar. It seems like a construction issue. And I do feel sorry for the people that died. But it seems to be like a filler story for something else that's maybe going on in the world. Yeah, I can think of
flooding to parts of Southern California today, and there were swift water rescues in the northern part of the state.
Also, weather,
the storm is
not a
over,
huge
but
issue.
There is another atmospheric river on the here in New York, where 2 New York City police officers were attacked in Times
Were they attacked?
Square. The suspects were then released without bail, a move that's drawing outrage tonight. Rahima Ellis has late details.
The alarming video showing two NYPD officers beaten in Times Square.
They were beaten? What were they doing, my guy?
Rahima Ellis has late details.
Because it looks like they jumped on a guy and they pushed him to the ground.
NYPD officers beaten in Times Square, kicked and punched as police say they were trying to disperse a disorderly crowd Saturday. 7 suspects arrested were seen in these mugshots. Chief, what were you thinking when you saw that video?
Kill them all.
And tonight, the NYPD also outraged. Those suspects are back out on the street, released without bail.
What, do you want to put them on death row? Like, is that your answer? Oh, these guys, they assaulted a cop. Now we gotta kill them.
On charges including assault on a police officer.
In any case, when you attack our police officers, you should go to Rikers Island. You should be remanded or bail should be set.
You should go where?
Prosecutors. Officer.
In any case, when you attack our police officers, you should go to Rikers Island. You should be remanded or...
First of all, sir, is this English? Are those words? Rikers Island? YouTube auto closed captions thinks you're actually that's probably a little bit more true than anything here. But yeah, to send them to Rikers Island, which is, I believe, what he's trying to say. If he hadn't been day drinking, wow, yeah, just put him through the whole process. Spend the most amount of money. You know what? While they're in Rikers Island, maybe they can get one of those sweet generators that the cops bought. Because I think they bought like 40 generators at one point in time. Because they had a bunch of extra money and they were renovating an entire space, and they had their own like private break room that was fully furnished, and basically a luxury room in Rikers. So yeah, maybe do send them to Rikers and they can chill there and have a good time. But yeah, that's just straight thumb ideology, man. Like, bro, go check your blood glucose. Jesus Christ.
That should be set.
Prosecutors acknowledging to NBC News they only asked for bail for one of the suspects. District Attorney Alvin Bragg writing, violence against police.
Is this Fox News? No, this is NBC. I got it. Okay.
Is never acceptable. It is paramount that we conclusively identify each defendant and specify each participant's role in the incident. Tonight, the NYPD saying the 7 suspects are migrants who came to New York in the past year.
Oh no, shit, you idiots!
Records since coming to the U.S., according to senior law enforcement officials. At least
just murder them. Just shoot everybody. How about that? What if we just did that instead as cops? Like, what if that was the solution?
6
Oh wait, that is the solution, because 1,300 people died last year in cop shootings. So yeah,
still being pursued. It's not known whether they are also migrants.
Get them all and send them back. You don't touch our police officers.
You racist piece of shit! Look at you. You have no person. What is going on with your eyes, by the way? You look like a movie villain, and you sound like one too.
Tonight, we're told the 2 NYPD police officers are okay. Lester?
Raheem Allen.
As if anybody cared. That's a good-looking wig, though.
Thank you. President Biden is in battleground Michigan tonight, hoping to get more backing from auto workers, with new signs he's facing a very tight race there against Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. Gabe Gutierrez has late details.
Just days after Clinton,
I give it a 8 out of 10.
Reaching a coveted endorsement from the United Auto Workers, President Biden back in Michigan.
I mean, if this dude wore a wig, he might have more votes. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Tonight, as the battle for this.
If he had like a full-on Joe Dirt mullet, hell yeah, brother.
State intensifies.
We now
That's
have,
how you get him
in
votes.
large part because of you and organized labor, the strongest economy in the whole.
Why am I so mean?
Damn world.
Why?
Carpentry union worker Tracy Longenbarger credits Biden for bringing in.
Dude, first of all, how tall is this motherfucker? And then how short is she? This is like a 2-foot difference here. What is happening?
Infrastructure jobs here.
Joe Biden has kept us working, and he's labor friendly, and that's all I can ask for.
But tonight, warning signs for the Biden campaign, including this new poll showing a potential head-to-head matchup.
So do it in the box right there. Oh no. Yeah, he's losing in Michigan because of what we just talked about like 30 minutes ago.
Here, with GOP frontrunner Donald Trump, Scott Malenford has been an auto worker for more than 20 years.
If you notice, Trump has said nothing at all about Israel or Gaza. Like, he hasn't, we know what his stances are, but he hasn't, well, first of all, he's not the incumbent. Secondly, he makes sure to keep that to a minimum and not fumble the bag.
I support Trump because I truly believe
this motherfucker's got to be like 8 feet tall, dude.
He does want what's best for the American worker.
The former president is trying to peel off more of those blue-collar voters, meeting with Teamsters leadership
I don't
yesterday.
think that's what's happening.
Over the years, I've employed thousands and thousands of Teamsters.
This doofus.
And they've done a great job.
Another challenge for President Biden here, craving support from Michigan's huge Arab American population, demanding a ceasefire in Gaza.
I think he is funding a genocide.
The president today said he understood.
Well, hold on. First of all, how to easily lose an argument is to start a sentence by saying, I think. You have to be very conscious about that, especially when you are going to give a statement or an interview or do something that will be nationally televised, because they will specifically look for that. Especially if the next thing that you say is something that is factual. They will use that to discredit your statement. Anytime you say, I think, that means it is my personal opinion, followed by whatever you're saying. So if you say, I think it's a genocide, you say, it's my personal opinion that it's a genocide. So that can easily be dismissed in an argument by saying, well, if that's your opinion is not a factual thing because it's your opinion. You made it your opinion, and now you lose the argument. That leaves it open for somebody to present other things that they may be able to get the audience or get the people that are listening to the argument to perceive as more factual than the information that you just dropped. And if you try to drop that same information again, it is no longer factual because you presented it as your opinion to begin with. So you lose the argument. For the rest of the time, it's done.
Pain and passion. But that's not enough for Lori Kamle Ajlouni in the Detroit suburbs.
How disappointed are you with the Biden administration?
I am heartbroken. I am so hurt that it's a feeling of betrayal.
She voted for Mr. Biden in 2020, but now
there is a widespread underground campaign of Arabs, of Muslims, where we cannot morally support President Biden.
So if not President Biden, would you vote for former President Trump?
No.
So who would you vote for?
I would write in on the ballot, ceasefire, free Palestine.
What you do is you vote down ballot Democrat, and then for the president, ceasefire Palestine.
Even though that could potentially give the election to former President Trump.
If things don't change, then I have no choice.
In 2020, President Biden won Michigan by just 154,000 votes. Losing Arab Americans or union members could cost him the state. Lester?
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. In 60 seconds, our new reporting on the toxic freight train derailment in Ohio. 1 year later.
And you know what? Hold on one second. How tall is Gabe Gutierrez? Yeah, there we go. No way he's 5'11". There's absolutely no way. There can be no way Gabe Gutierrez is 5'11". I'll look into that some other time.
What we're learning as residents remain concerned about their health.
Welcome back. I'm Dana Griffin with some breaking news out of Clearwater, Florida, where a small plane crashed into a mobile home park, according to the Clearwater Fire and Rescue Department, causing several homes to catch fire. The crash happened around 7 o'clock local time, just south of Clearwater Mall. Now, according to the FAA, the pilot of that single-engine aircraft reported an engine failure just prior to the crash. It is not yet known how many people were on board the plane or how many may have been injured on the ground. At this hour, it is unclear if there are any fatalities as the search and rescue mission continues. Now back to Lester in New York.
This weekend marks 1 year since that toxic train derailment in Ohio, devastating the community of East Palestine. Our Steve Romo spoke to people just now returning who say there is still a long way to get back to normal.
Tonight, video and documents just released by the NTSB shedding new light on that devastating train derailment and controlled explosion a year ago, including transcripts of the conversation in the train's cab when conductors realized something was seriously wrong. "We didn't get any air in the back," one says. "That means we've come apart." 38 cars had jumped the tracks, some bursting into flames and leaking toxic chemicals. Christina Dilworth says that day, East Palestine changed forever.
We all had to leave. It was scary. It was like a horror movie.
For much of the last year, Dilworth stayed at a hotel paid for by Norfolk Southern. But that relocation program is ending.
Bottled water. It's just my new normal.
She hoped coming back to her house would feel more like coming home.
A lot of people just think, oh, it's done, it's over, everybody's safe to go home. I always feel like we're like the forgotten town.
An October EPA report did not show any concerning levels of contaminants, and state regulators say the tap water is safe. But many here worry about the long-term health impacts. After the derailment, Dilworth says she developed a rash and headaches.
Health-wise, are you concerned just being here?
Yes, I am concerned. What's my long-term future? I've already been exposed.
As for the cleanup, Norfolk Southern says that
yeah, everybody there is going to get cancer pretty soon.
Trucks and heavy machinery remain as crews rebuild the area that was dug up to remove chemicals.
We want to make it look like it was.
I think it's awful what happened to these people.
Crews also installed pumps, which
in that
are
area.
Still collecting all stormwater from the site.
A lot of people are asking why it took so long. What was the biggest challenge at this site?
You know, it's a complex site. But, you know, everything
how long?
we've got to work with the regulators to get done correctly.
A year?
Meanwhile, all day long,
a whole year.
trains run through East Palestine, and no new federal safety legislation has passed. Stephen Romo, NBC News, East Palestine, Ohio.
And next, the urgent new warnings about supplements known on the street as gas station heroin. Also tonight, the FDA sounding the alarm about a potentially deadly drug. And unlike many drugs sold on the street, a lot of users are buying it at places like gas stations nationwide. Valerie Castro with our report from Alabama.
Tonight, so-called gas station heroin finding its way into stores around the country.
See these little gas stations right here? These are the places they would sell them.
The substance called tianeptine, found as an ingredient in some over-the-counter products labeled as dietary supplements. Chrissy Reifschneider used supplements containing the drug for 3 years, visiting various gas stations to buy the brand Tiana Red, fueling a $150 a day habit for an energy boost.
Just because it's legal and over-the-counters, I compare it to fentanyl and heroin.
Dr. William Rushton.
Hold on, this lady does a lot of drugs. Oh god, I snorted like 3 times, man. Yeah. Okay.
Toxicology expert in Alabama calling it a growing threat to public health.
It really acts a lot like an opioid. It's not just when you take it, but it's when you stop taking it, becoming sort of very ill, very agitated.
Tianeptine is not approved by the FDA for medical use in the U.S. But the FDA does not test dietary supplements before they reach the consumer, and that's the loophole that allows some companies to include the synthetic drug in a supplement.
But we absolutely know now it's spreading throughout the rest of the country.
The FDA now issuing new warnings about the dangers, focusing on the brand Neptune's Fix.
I guarantee you Neptune's Fix. Oh, these are great names, by the way. Dude, that's gross. I shouldn't do that on screen. Never pick anything and then look at it. I don't have earwax. My ear just itched. But ENT checked me out, by the way. I never have earwax. But I guarantee you these people are trying to just get through their day of work and also probably try to exercise and also do their regular daily routine and chores and just all their tasks that they have to do for the day. It takes a lot of energy to do that. It does. It's very tiresome. I myself don't even find the energy to do what I do, and I'm exhausted by like 2 p.m. It's a problem.
Linking it to seizures, loss of consciousness, and death. The maker agreeing to a voluntary recall, saying distribution channels have not reported any adverse events from the use of its products.
Damn. So I can't get this anymore? Is that what you're telling me? Whew.
NBC News reached out to the makers of these brands for comment, but did not hear back.
These things are the devil's candy.
Reifschneider has now taken to social media with her experience.
I honestly never.
Okay, I said I was going to stop talking bad about people.
Thought I would even be here.
Now almost 4 years sober and newly married, she's focused on sharing her story as a warning to others. Valerie Castro, NBC News, Huntsville, Alabama.
We'll take a break. Coming up, when a Muppet captures the moment, how a post from the beloved puppet set the world ablaze.
Break there.
We'll hear from
Thank you.
Elmo himself next. Finally, a reminder, you're never too old to call Elmo a friend. Emily Aketa now, and how a simple question from the Sesame Street star took an unexpected turn.
Elmo loves you. With his unmistakable voice and warmth and understanding.
Everybody feels lots of emotions, like happy, sad, surprised, and frustrated.
Elmo has touched countless lives for more than 4 decades, and this week that connection proving stronger than ever.
Well, it's very important to check on your friends and see how they're doing, because maybe they're not doing okay, or maybe they are, but it's good to talk about it.
Our favorite furry friend reacting on the Today Show to the wave of emotional venting on social media this week when he posted 9 seemingly simple words. Elmo is just checking in. How is everybody doing?
Those are 9 words.
Opened up. With the good, vibing, thriving, one person wrote. And mostly the bad. I'm having a quarter-life crisis right now, someone posted.
Quarter-life crisis?
I'm mentally burnt out, and I have a lifetime of working to...
I've been there. Yeah, then I got married. Just say no.
Go. Even President Biden and celebrities weighing in. T-Pain told Elmo, I'm just looking for somebody to talk to and show me some love, if you know what I mean. Elmo.
T-Pain. I don't know what you're going through, dude, but...
Alongside his proud dad, Louis, says he's glad he asked.
40,000 responses. We don't even know how to count that high yet, do we?
I didn't know Louis was his dad. Also, that's not what Louis sounded like before.
The surprising response prompting Sesame Street to post resources for emotional well-being. All thanks to a
Dog, we got bigger issues. We have huge problems.
heartfelt check-in straight from Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
And that is Nightly News for this Thursday. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'm Leslie Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about...
Goodbye, Lester.
And the anger that we are...
Oh, yeah. I was pre-watching this. Well, not really. I was pre-skimming it. But yeah, let's, do I want to watch this? I don't think it's relevant. I think we covered everything in here. The plans. A stupid executive order. It doesn't mean shit. Okay, maybe this part. I am interested in this part.
So what we know is that a series of strikes have been approved that would take place potentially over several days. We don't know exactly when those strikes would start, but
Tomorrow.
we're told that they would take place.
I'll tell you one thing. They need to start soon, because if there's a ceasefire, and we're bombing people, then that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a not ceasefire, because it's going to lead to further tensions, which will be an issue for the region. So what we do does matter here, and when we do it matters. I imagine we try to squeeze this in before the ceasefire is finalized.
In Iraq and Syria, and that it would be targeting outposts that have links to Iran, basically militias linked to Iran that are believed to be responsible for the attack on the base in Jordan that killed 3 American service members and wounded about 40. Now, the fact that the administration is signposting this, is basically saying, hey, we're going to do this, is typically something that it does when it wants to try to minimize casualties, wants to make sure that those that could be targeted can get out of the way if they...
What in the dumb shit did you just say? That those that could be targeted can get out of the way. And you said that with a straight face.
We need to, because the administration is interested in sending a message. It is not necessarily interested in starting a larger conflict with Iran, like you said. And so they're trying to find this sort of middle ground. It's tricky. What the Secretary of Defense said
bomb
today
them a little
is that this is
bit,
going to
but
be a
not to where they
multi-tiered
die.
approach. And so even once you do see these strikes that are supposed to be carried out, that doesn't mean that it's the end of their efforts to retaliate for what was done to these American soldiers.
All right, we will be watching. Thank you so much, Nancy Cortez. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
There's just 2 days until the South Carolina Democratic primary. The Biden campaign has been pushing to win the support of black voters there. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian has the latest from the Palmetto State.
Black voters could be critical in the upcoming Democratic primary here in South Carolina. We spoke with a few pastors here at this predominantly African-American church about some of their concerns and what they're hearing from voters as they try to encourage them to go to the polls.
Yeah.
I am concerned about the lack of enthusiasm. I am concerned that so many of our community, and I understand, feeling that some of the issues that are more relevant to us are not being addressed.
We don't have an option. We don't have an option.
Yeah, what option is there?
Nikki Haley would certainly be better than Trump.
No. First of all, no. No, no, no. Nikki Haley is literally just like pink Trump. That's it.
But
and I hate to be misogynist with colors. She's literally same policies, same views. It's the Republican Party. They all fall in line for a reason. It's because they all have the same stances. It's really just like an American Idol kind of thing of, you know, who wants to be the American president and who can say it better than the next person. That is all that is as far as the Republican Party goes. The Republican Party has terrible stances. They want basically more. They've been more and more fascist as time has gone on. We should see that. We should make that abundantly clear. The Democratic Party is not marginally better. I would say they do a lot of carrot dangling, where they're like, here, do you want Roe v. Wade to come back? Because if you vote for us, you'll get it. And then if they lose, they say, oh, we lost some rights. Vote for us next time and you'll get them back. And then when you put them back in power, they're like, oh, yeah, that thing that you wanted, it's right here. You got to vote again this next time around, and we'll get it this time.
Has Joe Biden been?
That is the game.
And I
that
think
is the game.
In our community is we do desire for him to return to office, but we need for a little bit more execution and work done
where's the execution
that we're looking at, and that's a concern in our community.
President Biden has made several stops in the Palmetto State over the last few weeks, including visits to black churches. You'll recall the president won about 60% of the black vote back in 2020, which helped propel him to victory in the primary and resuscitated his campaign. But some polls have indicated that support among African American voters may be softening. So this primary in South Carolina is being viewed as a critical test. Early voting is already underway across the state, including mobile options where folks can simply drive up in their car and cast a ballot. This time.
Okay, so we had that in Houston. It got thrown out, as in like it got outlawed because we have a bunch of Republican assholes in Texas. And then not only that, they tried to throw out. I don't know if they did, but they definitely tried to throw out these votes that were done by curbside voting. Curbside anything is great because we live in a car-centric society. Curbside delivery is fantastic. Curbside vaccinations were great.
Around the
Curbside voting, fantastic. Sounds like a brilliant idea. I love it.
Back in South Carolina,
we should expand on
primary,
that.
But
We should make voting as easy as possible.
Expected here Friday to make a final push.
Nicole Killian, thank you.
Now, if you live in a state that doesn't make voting as easy as possible, like that, you might live in an oppressive state that doesn't want you in particular to vote. Now, you would say, hey, if we increase voting in a Republican state like Texas, wouldn't that mean that you're going to get more Republican votes? No. Reason being, in most Republican states, if the Republicans have been in charge for as long as they have in Texas, they will have already passed laws. They will have already passed suppression tactics, gerrymandering, cracking and packing, which I could go further into. Basically, a lot of just tactics that prevent people from voting. If we were really serious about voting in the United States, everybody would get that day off. Not only would everybody get that day off, everybody would probably get the whole week off. That would be the seriousness of voting. We don't. As a matter of fact, most people have to work like every day, and then not only do most people work every day in the voting season, but most polls or most polling places are only open between the hours that you work. That means that if you get off of work, the window for you to go vote is very small, because that means that you get off of work like at 4 or 5 o'clock, and the voting place probably is going to close at like 7 or 9. Now you're going to say, oh man, you got 4 hours to do that? Okay, not everybody has nothing to do directly after work. A lot of people have, errands to run, or kids to pick up, or, other tasks that they have, to do as an adult, especially if you're a voting person, you're an adult. This is all done on purpose. If it was truly a pro-voting society, it would be like a 24-hour voting place, or you could just vote through mail, or, hey, I've heard of this thing, it's called the PC. Maybe you could vote on the internet in a secure fashion. I mean, you would say, well, the internet's not... You access your fucking banking and your paycheck and everything online these days. You cannot tell me that you wouldn't be able to fashion a secure voting ballot website for each state that's already looking at whatever the hell you're doing, all the dumb shit that you do.
President Biden is campaigning in Michigan.
I'm getting into conspiracy theorist territory there. But yeah, if you go post on like Facebook that you're gonna assassinate a very important person in politics, you will probably get a visit from the police, your local police. So don't tell me that, it isn't secure, that these things aren't being watched.
Michigan today, following his high-profile endorsement from the United Auto Workers Union. We're joined by a senior spokesperson for his campaign. Next, you're streaming America Decides.
Oh, this is online only?
Welcome back to America Decides. President Biden traveled to Michigan today to meet with members of the United Auto Workers Union. This trip comes just days after he received the union's high-profile endorsement. Biden narrowly flipped Michigan in 2020 after Trump carried the state back in 2016. The former president is also vying for union support. Yesterday, Trump met with the Teamsters president to discuss immigration. The union backed both President Biden and Hillary Clinton instead of Trump the two previous times he ran for office. Kevin Munoz joins us now. He is a senior spokesperson for President Biden's re-election campaign. Kevin, it's always great to see you. I'm looking at an email where you blasted the former president's, quote, bad attempt at salvaging union support after that meeting yesterday. Why are you so confident that President Biden is going to continue to win union endorsements?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Ouija. Hello from Wilmington. We're really excited that the president was able to come to Michigan today to talk to some of the 130,000 UAW Michiganders in the state about the stakes of this election when it comes to working people. When you look at Donald Trump's record, it is one of selling out the working class on behalf of Wall Street. And Joe Biden is proud to be the most pro-labor president. And this was a great trip following his historic visit to a picket line, the first time the sitting president has ever done that. And we're going to continue to talk about how this agenda is delivering for union members, including creating jobs here at home instead of shipping them over to China.
And Kevin, I want to point to a photo of a truck that was parked near today's UAW event because Michigan, as you mentioned, is home to many members of that particular union, but it's also home.
There was actually a there was a reporter that was doing a live presentation from the field, and the truck pulled up right next to them and parked. It was this truck, exactly. They did it on purpose, obviously. Anyways, I'm going to fall asleep listening to these guys. That interview was way too long. What's this about? Analyzing. Okay, we just talked about that. More of the same for the entire rest of that part. Alright, that's cool. I can see why that's online only. We're going to move on to the Texas border crisis. But yeah. So this guy said that he was going to cross the border illegally. He did. And he had a video of himself, like a trailer of him doing it, him meeting up with coyotes. And then I don't know where that is. It has not been posted online. I don't know if he's going to do that in here. I don't think so. But I would love to see that happen.
Mi nombre es Andrew Callahan y hoy estamos en una ciudad que se llama Eagle Pass, una ciudad en Texas muy cerca a la frontera.
In our previous episode, we were in Arizona, in Gringo Pass, covering the border situation
Gringo
there.
Pass?
But in the grand scheme of human traffic, Gringo Pass is small potatoes compared to Eagle Pass.
In the past couple of years, or past couple months, Eagle Pass has kind of been the center of the border crisis in the U.S., mainly because the border here is less fortified.
It's a river instead of a wall, and you can't build a wall in the river, I don't think. Plus, from a population perspective, Eagle Pass is in a pretty remote area, and so for a long time, our government paid it no mind.
The Border Patrol and ICE's budget is about $17 and $18 billion per year, and they spend most of that money fortifying more traffic borders, like the border between El Paso and Juarez, San Ysidro and Tijuana, and even Laredo in South Texas.
Which has caused the cartel that controls human smuggling routes along the border to shift their operations to this dandy little town, which up until this year was virtually unknown, aside from being the place where No Country for Old Men was filmed.
Eagle Pass has been on the map recently, more in the past 1, 2 to maybe 3 years, more than it's been like
it's
Cheddar Blanco.
The scene yesterday in Eagle Pass, Texas, has become quite familiar.
Texas has taken control of a park in Eagle Pass in the fight over the state's razor wire on the border. The Biden administration is asking the High Court to let Border Patrol officers take it down because it's interfering with federal law.
German collective guilt. Oh yeah, I forgot what to say. Hold on. So as part of this, actually, as part of this Eagle Pass shit, what we're really talking about is just kind of like these racist people. I don't know that this woman's racist herself, but I did see this video and I do want to watch it. So let me play it right now.
Do not be deceived. Stop thinking that everybody who waves a flag and shouts freedom is your friend and a good person, because we have people like this.
I can't hear her. I need the link, and gonna come back to this awesome masterpiece here. Yes, we are all full of microplastics now. Can I crank her up?
Stop thinking that everybody who waves and shouts freedom is your friend and a good person, because we have people like this trying to join up in the movements. I found this out the hard way.
I'm sorry, what?
I found it out the hard way. That not everybody is in things for the same reasons you are. I was in the People's Convoy, and what a fucking disappointment that ended up being. What a disappointment to find out that these people that you were with, they weren't like you. They didn't care about the country. They were a bunch of grifting, motherfucking live streamers that wanted to make money off of the people in America who were hardworking and sending their money, little old ladies, old men, people who had to wait for their paychecks so they could give a little bit of money to help people drive around and shout freedom and fight for freedom. And to find out that it was really for nothing.
I think she just learned about the internet, really.
To find out that the people involved, a lot of the people involved that are involved in this convoy right here, were really bad people. Do not be deceived. Stop thinking that everybody who waves a flag and shouts freedom is your friend and a good person, because we have people like this trying to join up in the movements. I found this out the hard way.
I can't help but laugh, but yeah, if you're not familiar with the internet, Steve Bannon's not a good person. It turns out he takes a lot of money from these suckers. Yeah, welcome to the fold, I guess. I don't know what else to tell you, lady. There are a lot of bad people that are involved in right-wing movements, and you should definitely watch out for that.
Thousands are crossing here. Like, we had like a couple weeks ago, like 6,000 crossing one night. Like, just caravans of them come through. Elon Musk came a couple weeks ago. I feel like, I mean, it's cool he's coming and putting some attention on it, because we're trying to get help. Like, this is getting out of hand. Like, a lot of business owners.
Brother, Elon Musk has been
getting like to be a big deal, you know.
In our previous coverage along the Arizona border, I got the chance to speak to many migrants of different origins. Some from Guatemala, some from Guinea, some from
Hold on. You don't get to be never. You own the deaths of my friends in the 80s. You own COVID deaths, yes. You own the dissolution of order in this country. I completely agree. I completely agree. MAGA is a Republican movement. Yeah, we can safely say MAGA is a Republican movement, and so is this whole convoy thing that has been happening. It's all right-wing BS, and we should recognize it as such.
Senegal, and some from Bangladesh. And though their stories were all quite different, the common thread between them was economic uncertainty and political instability in their home country, which they were happy to tell me about. What I wasn't able to gather a lot of information about was the actual process of being trafficked by a coyote. And so after leaving Arizona, I came into contact with 2 coyotes who live in Piedras Negras, the town across the border from Eagle Pass, who had somehow seen my show, and so agreed to give me an interview, as well as a complete ride-along and a tour of their operations.
Hell
However,
yeah.
their meetup instructions were pretty sketchy. They refused to meet me across the border in Texas, and instead insisted that I walk over the border on foot to meet them on the other side. So I figured that just to be safe, I'd find a local bilingual friend to help walk me across and make sure nothing crazy happened. So I hit up local rapper Cheta Blanco to essentially be my escort.
Riding with 50 racks, so I keep me a strap on my lap and a strap in the back. Riding with 20 bags of the gas in the trunk, gotta serve like the whole Eagle Pass. And I got EP on my back, so I do what I do to put us on the map. Remember way back in like 2016 when young Cheta had married the trap?
Cheta is born and raised in Eagle Pass, and growing up had a lot of friends and family who were involved in the coyote business.
So how much does it typically cost to have a coyote transport you across the river?
It can go, I've heard different ranges. I've heard 5,000, 10,000. That's just like crossing the river. Then you still have to pay a couple thousand to like get taken up to San Antonio. Because leaving Eagle Pass, there's a checkpoint. Like any city you go to from here, you're gonna get stopped by Border Patrol just to make sure you're a U.S. citizen, and then you're good to go. So really, you gotta pay another couple thousand to make it out of the city. So yeah. People end up spending like 20 bands, bro. Like to go from Mexico to Chicago, San Antonio, anywhere up where they're trying to work. Yeah. They spend 15 to 20 bands for sure.
And do a lot of migrants cross without the help of a coyote?
A lot of them do. Surprisingly, like I came across some, and I even talked to some. They say that with zero money, they came over here walking, like from Venezuela, Ecuador, Colombia, like all these different countries where the country's just so bad. They don't have like there's no light and water sources. There's no food, like things like that. No jobs, obviously. And they said Mexico's like the hardest part, that the police will always rob them. Like $10, $20 that they might have, anything, they'll take anything off you. Like.
On Friday, they clashed with Mexican police here wearing riot shields. Some migrants jumped into the river using rafts to get across.
I'm very for them coming here and bettering their life. That's the thing. Like, I'm very for, like, I wish we had room for everybody, but there's just got to be a more structured way for sure. Like, I don't know that.
Dog. Okay, first of all, don't give me that bullshit that there ain't room for people here. There's a ton of room for everybody. There's a ton of empty land. It's a matter of building homes, building housing. That's all that is. Don't ever tell me we are full. I will fucking fight you. I will physically fight you and make sure that this facial hair never grows on your face ever again.
Answer to it, but that
come at me, bro.
Answer to me is not send them back.
Anybody. That's a message to anybody.
Because there's nothing for them. You're sending them back to where they can just get killed, starve, and
live
a life of
Exactly. Tell them, bro. I'm 5 minutes into this video. I'm fucking pissed off right now.
But the answer to me is not send them back.
Yeah.
There's nothing for them. You're sending them back to where they can just get killed, starve, and live a life of poverty. Like I wouldn't say sending them back is the answer.
They can live a life of poverty right here. No. They can do a lot better here. What we make here in the States, even at minimum wage, is much more than what you can make back in like Venezuela or like where any other South America or Central American country. Pennies on the dollar, basically. With that exchange of money, they can get their families here. Their families come here, and then they start working. That is really all these people want to do, is to come work, live a life of progress in what they wouldn't be able to live back home. Now, why can't they live a life of progress back there? It's called exploitation. The United States requires exploitation because we're a capitalist country, and capitalism requires exploitation of other countries, if not their own people, and that's the way capitalism works. If you don't have that basic understanding, do not come at me.
We got to figure out how we can budget and how we can have them here, you know?
1 p.m. was the time that I was scheduled to meet the Coyotes, who told me on Signal that they were waiting for me on foot in a plaza across the bridge. Cheta told me it takes no more than 5 minutes to get into Mexico from Eagle Pass. No border patrol, no customs, no nothing.
We're literally right at the bridge, so a couple hundred feet over there is the river. We're gonna walk over the river, over the bridge. We're gonna meet up with a coyote, professional coyote. He's gonna take you through his route. You're gonna go probably like over some like desert areas. So basically you're just gonna go through what an immigrant would have to go through without papers, for sure. How to cross into the United States with no papers.
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
Have you gone over there a lot, like growing up?
All the time, bro. I come and buy medicine. I come and get my contacts. Like a pair of contacts is like $8, bro.
We first pass a toll booth with 2 attendants who barely notice us.
It's pretty crazy how easy it is for us to cross.
Yup.
Oh, you just go right in, yeah. Ain't nobody give a shit. No, nobody gives a shit about you going into Mexico. You go into Mexico. How do you think guns get in there? How do you think drugs get in there? Actually, they don't even care if drugs get in there because they already have the drugs. What are you gonna do? Bring worse drugs into Mexico? No. What are you gonna like? Now, getting that shit out of Mexico, yeah, that's a problem.
Cheta gives a teller $1 and the border opens.
Thank you.
So we're now basically entering Mexico, and it was that easy.
That easy, bro. Once we get to the end of this bridge, there is like a little hut you go through, but they don't check for ID. They don't pat you down, nothing.
They don't check for ID.
They don't check for ID at all.
But then on the other hand, is that a border patrol boat?
Yeah.
So that's the Rio Grande right there. Huh?
Yep. I look, they're getting married right now.
Oh,
hell yeah. Hey, congratulations!
Hold on. What did I just do? Oh, dude, I don't know what I just did. Hold on. There you go.
We had like a couple weeks, like 20 back.
Told me it takes.
Congratulations!
Dog. Hold on, they got married on the border.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're getting married on the bridge, so...
That's a good looking family, I'm just saying. You know, both of them looking pretty good. Dog, what?
So he or she gets her citizenship.
What?
So, yes, that's how it works.
Well, some say it's the right way to come into the country. Others argue it's an immigration loophole as they exchange vows and say, I do, at the doorstep of our border.
So one of them is probably like full Mexican citizen, and one of them does have U.S. papers, so one of them marrying the other allows the other to now become a U.S. citizen.
30 seconds after witnessing the fascinating border marriage, me and Cheta arrived in Mexico and entered the plaza where the coyotes said they'd be waiting.
All right, so we're in Mexico now. We're in Mexico.
At first, we couldn't find them.
Oh shit, I think these fools are over here, bro.
Then, in the corner of the plaza, we
En
saw
la
three,
izquierda.
one with a gold chain and two others. I wasn't quite sure, but I think these are my guys.
What's up, bro?
You're gonna murder Andrew Callahan.
To my surprise, these dudes couldn't have been older than maybe 20.
¿Qué es la plan? ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Vivir la experiencia, vaya, ¿no? No, es mi primera vez. ¿Eso sería su primera vez? Yeah, sí.
You know, I'm surprised Andrew Callahan's Espanol is muy bueno, by the way.
I told them it was my first time meeting a coyote, and they seemed a bit apprehensive. One of them began throwing up gang signs, and the other abruptly asked everyone except for me and my cameraman to leave.
Tú y tú, nada más.
Sí.
No, pues trataremos de tomar un taxi, iremos a punto donde nos vamos a llevar y para comenzar.
I can't do any of that.
Pero les pediría que sean muy discretos porque sí, hay varias cosas que
I
pasan.
hated those guys so
No
much.
quiero que ocurra algo malo.
Simón.
Muy bien.
Be like as discreet as possible.
They say the larger our group is, the more likely we are to draw negative attention.
Right,
Sí,
right.
nomás queremos que sea discreto y si pues van a grabar en la cámara, pues no sé si me pueden borrar a mí la cara. Sí, por favor.
Sí.
Porque no vaya a ocurrir algo mal. Pero pues bueno, vamos a darle, ¿no? ¿Quieren la experiencia? Venga, vamos.
To be honest, I was a bit alarmed here. My mom always taught me there was safety in numbers. And I crossed the border with Cheta Blanco and my two cameramen, Larry Susan and Elliot. That made our collective number a solid 4, which is a good number. But now it seemed like if I wanted to continue the shoot, I more or less had to cut my crew in half. So I had to do a stern risk-reward analysis in regard to the potential danger that could be ahead. After all, I have 2 dogs to take care of, and not everything is worth it for the content. I recall about 2.5 years ago when I first began to take journalism seriously, my parents sat me down and gave me a simple demand. No cartel, no ISIS. And it was clear that if I continued the shoot, I'd be
Definitely no
breaking
ISIS,
rule
dude.
But if I'd came this far, I wasn't about to leave. And so I sent my crew back to Texas.
I will see you back in Texas.
All right, brother, be safe.
All right, see you guys.
Keeping only Larry Susan by my side.
Dog, first of all,
As we enter a nondescript
tats,
taxi,
right?
headed to God knows where.
You gotta show up.
The taxi begins driving, eastbound, away from the border plaza and into the heart of Piedras Negras. For some context, Piedras is generally considered to be a pretty safe border town. It actually has the lowest homicide rate of any border town on the Mexican side, and is literally 10 times safer than Tijuana or Juarez.
I
It's
mean,
also
that ain't
where
saying much,
nachos
bro, but okay.
80 years ago, by a man named Ignacio Anaya, whose simple
Ignacio!
combination of cheese and tortilla chips irreversibly altered the course of history. Plus, according to the U.S. State Department's travel advisories, Coahuila, which is the Mexican state that Piedras is in, has a level 2 travel advisory, which means to exercise increased caution. So that's what I did. After all, there was no backing out at this point.
God
We were in the
damn
complete
mouse
custody
keeps
of
dying,
these
bro.
2 teenage coyotes, who said they were taking us to a spot along the Rio Grande where they'd been permitted to Coahuila.
I need this map. I need this map for my own good. Puebla, Mexico. Yeah, DF, El DF, level 2 is also level 2. Yeah, Veracruz, Yucatan. Okay, yeah, Cancun still level 2. So yeah, I would recommend traveling to, if not Mexico City. Don't go anywhere here, especially Brownsville. This is mostly Texas until you get like up here. Cancun's great. I don't see Playa del Carmen on here, but that's also on there. It's also in the region. Great. Do recommend all the yellow places, especially if they're along the coast.
U.S. State Department's travel advisories. Coahuila, which is the Mexican state that Piedras is in, has a level 2 travel advisory, which means to exercise increased caution. So that's what I did. After all, there was no backing out at this point. we were in the complete custody of these two teenage coyotes, who said they were taking us to a spot along the Rio Grande where they'd been permitted to operate by a larger parent organization, which will not be named. We continue to drive until we reach the outskirts of town. The coyotes direct the driver to pull off behind the Oxo, which is like the Mexican 7-Eleven. And soon, we're driving on a remote road past what looks to me like the projects or something. I'm not sure how to explain it. It looked like a trailer park built with concrete, if that makes sense.
No, those are homes, bro.
Abruptly, we're instructed to immediately get out of the car, which is alarming and honestly quite disorienting, given the fact that I assumed we were going to the river. But still, my options for escape are pretty limited, so I figured it was time to just play it cool and do an interview.
Officer, allá en el lado americano, está Army, también en el lado mexicano.
Okay.
Y esto también.
Yeah, there's also Mexican army everywhere.
Sí, yo entiendo. ¿Es peligroso o no?
Es muy peligroso porque muchos
peligroso, pero sabemos.
Sí.
Es peligroso para la gente que no sabe.
Para los hijos y
No, para los que no saben,
como
sí.
eso. Sí.
Yeah, like if you don't know what's going on, then you're gonna get fucked up.
They say that in terms of crossing the river, the shorter you are, the more dangerous it is. On a typical day, the Rio Grande is about 4 feet and 9 inches deep, which is just above the average height of an 8-year-old. And over 58% of Mexicans reported not being able to swim, so it's very possible for young migrants below the water depth to drown if they lose footing. Upon further research, I learned that most of the world actually cannot swim, and there's a direct correlation between socioeconomic status and swimming ability.
Yeah.
For example, in Norway, where the median household income is $45,000, 97% of people can swim. But in countries like Bangladesh, Guatemala, and Guinea, where many of these migrants come from, that number is below 20%. So it's safe to say that most migrants.
Oh man, this is so hard to watch. This is so hard to watch. Oh. I can't finish this right now, man. I just like I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pick it up Friday, and then we'll go through and I'll watch it then. That's really it. I think 2 hours is a good stop here. I'll play myself out. Yeah, that's dude. Yeah, so the poorer you are, the more likely it is that you're going to drown. I can relate to that. I've almost drowned multiple times in my lifetime. But anyway, pick it up tomorrow.